What's up, everybody? How we doing? It's the Strictly Business Podcast with your hosts, Deron and Jay. We have a very special guest today, the beautiful Michelle with the Bottle Service Boot Camp. Now, this is a podcast that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time because when I saw her business, it's probably the first business I saw in a long time that made me say, "Wow, that's genius." So we will let Michelle tell us all about it. What is
Thank you.
Bottle Service Boot Camp?
Thank you. Well, Bottle Service Bootcamp, we started as a staffing company, but now we do staffing, training, consulting, and coaching. So we do everything under the umbrella of hospitality. So whether it be a nightclub, a festival, a restaurant, a lounge, a supper club, we do their training, their castings, and consulting, like grand scale consulting. So basically, we get people who are either starting businesses and want to flourish right from the start. So they want to hire the whole, consulting company, which is a whole bunch of us. It's like me and four other people that I typically use. We have over 125 years of experience compiled. So we have people from the back of the house to the front of the house that are experts at every part of a business operation as far as hospitality is concerned. And we can walk new owners through opening a place or walk owners who are struggling. Because right now, a lot of owners are at that point where, the economy is hitting hard and people are starting to feel the backlash of other people not making money. So how do we get people into our establishment over this establishment or that establishment? So we do a lot of consulting and coaching for large scale venues and hospitality companies. But then my niche is training girls how to be sharks on the floor as far as sales. So a lot of times people forget that when we are in the hospitality industry, especially servers, bartenders, it's a very lackadaisical sales environment, but it's still very much a sales environment. And these are still very much your sales agents. And as the business owner, they need to be trained. They need to know sales tactics. They need to know marketing tactics. They need to know retainment tactics because no matter what you're selling, anything you're selling, whether it be real estate, cars, houses, all require the same set of steps in order to secure a sale and then retain the sale. So a lot of owners themselves don't know that. Most of their managers will never work on a floor in their life or have never worked on a floor in their life. So it was a necessity. Like my company was kind of, how they say invention is the mother of necessity. It's a necessity. So many club owners, festivals, people, they have been hiring girls that are based off looks or whatever, and they don't have any experience. And they're wondering why sales are not the way the sales are in Vegas, even though we're in Miami. We have the same exact clientele. So what I bought to the floor plan or to the field here is the same type of training and the same type of professionalism that you see in Vegas with their waitresses and their sales team because a waitress in Vegas is automatically going to be making $200,000 to $300,000 a year.
Right.
So we're talking six figures. You know what I mean? So this is life changing money. This is money that can put you ahead and all these. So why wouldn't they be trained? Why shouldn't they be trained? And same thing in Miami. We have waitresses that are making at least $100,000 a year, and that's with no training. So if a girl can make 100,000 with no training, imagine what she can do with training and,
Right.
and knowing what she's supposed to be doing and giving them a blueprint. Because what I find is most of the places that I go into, most of the girls they don't even know really what their job is. They're just there and waiting for direction. You know what I mean?
And how do you know you have somebody that has potential?
It's an itch because I've been doing it for so long. So there's certain like qualities and personality characteristics that automatically make for a good salesperson in general. So I always tell managers you want to look for like your most annoying employee. Like typically the person that's the most overzealous, that's always asking a million questions, that's kind of like a brown nose. They want to be there, they want to perform, and they want people to like what they're doing. So even though those are typically your handful, like or your handful employees, like because they do require so much more, if you pour into them, those are the people that will buy into your business. They'll make your business flourish as though it was their own. So a lot of times, managers want the easiest employees, the ones that aren't going to ask for much, that just follow directions and take orders. But from a owner's perspective, that's not what you want. You want people that buy into your company, that want to move up in your company, that believe in your company, and that are absolutely stoked to work here. Like they think it's the best job ever because those people are you're going to get your biggest return on. Those are the type of people that they're walking, talking, free marketing for you. When they go outside of their work, they're like, hey, I work at this place, I work at that place, come on and see me. All their family members know they work there, their friends know they work there. That's where they want to go on their day off. That's the type of person you want to work for your establishment because they're always going to bring you a return on your investment. Because as an owner, it's an investment. And I think a lot of owners forget that because they just want a nightclub.
Right.
They just want a restaurant. And then when things start hitting hard and the bills start piling in and the debt starts coming on, that's when they start realizing, holy crap, this is a business. You know what I mean? And it has to be operated as such.
How do you manage a business, work in the nightlife, stay fit? How do you do all that?
Well, they all kind of go in hand because I stay fit because I'm always running because I don't ever really clock into the gym or anything like that.
This guy's a major runner.
Yeah, like, I'm not even physically running. Like, I'm just running. Like, I'm physically all day somebody's demanding something of me. So if I'm not here, I'm there. You know, I wear so many hats. So if I'm not on the floor physically walking around, running around with the girls, then I'm doing a boot camp during the day for whole hospitality companies. I'm standing on my feet. I'm talking. I'm walking around a room. So I feel like physically, I'm blessed genetically, obviously, but I stay busy. So when you're staying busy, that helps you to stay in shape. And then, you know, because I'm on the floor and I see everything that goes on and I've been on the floor for so long, it's really easy for me to wear that hat of like coaching and consulting because I know more about what goes on in a venue than typically any owner or any manager ever would. So the best owners are the ones that came from nothing, the ones that started as a busser or a bartender, because those are the guys that know what it takes to run a place, know what all the ins and outs of the operations are. Most operators or most owners have never operated a venue. So my benefit is just being in the thick of things in every position. I started working in this industry when I was 14. My father owned nightclubs. My dad owned a nightclub. My
14?
whole yeah. So I started at 14. My dad owned a place called C'est La Vie in Pennsylvania. So all of his daughters, we all had to work in the nightclub. We all had
Wait, how many daughters?
He's got 3 daughters.
3?
And all 3 of us had to, like, that was a rite of passage for us. Before we get a real job, we had to go to work with my dad.
That is a real job, though.
Yeah, it is a real. It definitely is.
It's a
And
business.
He definitely taught us all the way. Every one of his daughters is a hustler. Every one of his daughters makes their own money. One of my older sisters owns a bridal shop. My other sister's RN. It's like we all have been the type to get at it because our dad didn't. It wasn't an option, you know. So during our summers off, my mother worked for the government, so my dad would have us during the summers. They were together, but my dad owned his business, so he could bring us to work with him during the summer. So during the summer, I would go to work with dad, and from every aspect of the nightclub, we learned. I mean, we would go to the warehouses to do the food shopping for the restaurant part. I mean, I learned every single aspect of the business just watching my father run nightclubs. And so when I was 14, 15, 16, we would wake up to a house full of people that came back from the after party. And it would be celebrities in the house and this and that. And so it was always something that I was born into. And I love hospitality. In general, we always had house parties. My mom always cooked. My dad cooked every day. So I grew up in a very hospitable house. So hospitality was always a part of my life. You know, I knew how to cook. I knew how to entertain from a very young age.
That's good.
I love to entertain. So I think that's also what makes me good at what I do is if I'm not in the club or if I'm not doing something that's catering to somebody at work, I'm at home cooking or cleaning or having house parties. So it's just part of my nature.
Yeah. I follow your stories.
So I have so many questions.
Okay.
So many questions.
So.
First of all, the first one, are you franchising yet? Because I want to be a franchisee.
I have, again, that is what is coming now is just I'm starting to get offers from different people either trying to buy me out, trying to buy my business. But the problem is...
But wait, hold on. I'm going to interrupt you right quick. Because I want to take it back a little bit.
Okay.
Before we go there, we're going to go there. I want to take it back a little bit.
Okay.
So you started 14 years old.
Yeah.
With your dad. Okay. In Pennsylvania. When did you move? Did you move to Miami?
So I moved to Miami when I graduated college. But I always worked in the service industry. So even after my father, I got my first job in hospitality, like my first independent job, I guess, in hospitality. As like a food server in high school or whatnot. And then I went to college. And then in college, I got immediately, like I made them make a position for me because you weren't allowed to work in the nightclub or serve behind the bar unless you were 21.
Wow.
So I wasn't 21. So I was like, well, legally, I'm allowed to sell beer from outside of the bar.
Hustle.
And I
hustler.
like to dance, so why won't you let me do a beer tub and I'll put a platform and I'll do a little dancing and have this go-go dancing thing, but then people can come and buy beers from me too. And so they were like, that's a great idea. If you can make it work, we'll figure it out. So that's how I started in college, and I was making $400 or $500 a night just from like this little beer tub at one of the clubs, and I wasn't even old enough to be in the club.
Ladies, y'all listening?
So
This is a hustle, boy. Can we see the dance?
it was like
Let's see it.
you know how like girls go dance in the nightclubs nowadays where they're like all like
We want to see it. Like,
exaggerated.
show
So
us. Show the
we're doing,
people.
like, you know what I mean? Like all this little
What?
all
Nice.
that turning around.
Oh boy, you were selling beers like a
dropping it low.
motherfucker.
And then people would come over and get their beers.
Of course, they would come over and get their beers.
And I would sell, and that's the thing. I had clients even from then. Like I had people, even girls, that would only support my beer tub because they could go get beers from behind the bar as well. But they would only come to me because I would give them a vibe. I would remember them from the last week or whatever the case may be. I would always remember whoever came and tipped me well the week before, even if it was a female. So I'd be, hey girl, I know you like your blue sparks. I got you. You know what I mean? So it's about being personable, but also seeing where there's opportunity to make money, seeing where people are losing opportunity. Like their money was going out the door. Their bar was packed every night. There was people waiting in line every night. Like when I created this, it created a system for them.
I can see that. I can see that.
So now it's easier to just go get your beers and your canned drinks from the beer tub, and the bar can focus on creating cocktails, which is what they're designed for.
And that was at what age?
That was 18, 19. My first job at Timothy's at University of Delaware. It's still there.
Nice.
Shout out Timothy's.
Shout out Timothy's at
We gotta
University
tag
of
them.
Delaware.
Let's
Yes.
tag them. So,
They gave me my
Remember this
first
girl?
opportunity.
Those dances, we want to see them. DM me if you have any of those videos. I
Although
want
that
to
was the
see
day of
that.
still pictures, because I'm not going to tell my age, but that was the day of still pictures. But there's definitely somebody with some pictures back then.
For sure.
And
Send them.
On MySpace. Somewhere.
yes, on MySpace. It was definitely on MySpace. And I definitely shout out to Timothy's because they definitely gave me a way to make money throughout college, and it was very lucrative for me, very lucrative.
Well, shout out to your dad.
And shout out to my dad, who's the hustler of the year. When he passed away, there was a line around the block of people that wanted to talk about how my father had influenced them and how he had helped them make money and helped them become a business person. So that was my dad's forte. He when he believed in people, he just didn't let you slack. And I'm like that too. I don't let my workers slack. You know what I mean? And not because I'm hard or I'm a tough ass or whatever, because I believe in you and I want better for you and I want you to see you be able to take this into something, greater.
I know so many girls that come to Miami and they want to be in your position, They want to come, they want to work, they want to make money. What advice do you have for somebody who's coming to Miami and that's what they want to do? They want to get into the nightlife.
You have to start by coming to me and doing my training. Like, that's the most important thing. And I'm not saying that because it's my training. It's because you cannot get into this field without having some type of specialized knowledge. That's the number one thing most girls are missing. They think that bottle service is simply walking out with bottles and perhaps making a drink or two. And it's so much beyond that. The average boot camp that I do on the short end is 8 hours. So think about the fact that we are going for 8 hours straight, nonstop talking. There's questions being asked, there's lectures being done, and we still have to sometimes go into a second or third day. That's how much specialized knowledge is in sales of anything, but especially sales of high-end alcohol.
It's amazing that you say the sales because you don't think about that. You think service, but it's sales.
And no sales comes without service, no matter where you go. The service is always going to be the primary driver to your sales, and the one can't go without the other. So it doesn't matter what. Like, if you go into a car dealership and you get great service by that guy, and the next time you buy a car, you're going to go back to that guy, right? You go into a restaurant, sometimes the food can be kind of subpar, but if you get amazing service, you're like, I'll go back just because the service was amazing or the drinks were great, whatever the case may be. So service is a huge part of sales, but sales is what drives any sales company or sales business to being able to flourish or to be able to have longevity. So you need sales, you know what I mean? So if you just have service, but these girls are nice as hell, but they don't have any product knowledge and they can't create sales and make people upsell or make people have a desire to spend more than they're coming in there to spend, then they're not helping you. You just have order takers.
Bars.
She's
spitting bars, ladies and gentlemen.
And anyone can be an order taker. I tell my girls this all the time. Anyone can be an order taker, no matter how good looking you are. There's always somebody better looking. So you have to bring specialized knowledge. You have to have clientele. The only way to garnish clientele is to know about sales and marketing yourself. Because once you have that marketing around yourself, you can sell them anything. So that's why I ended up doing real estate for 15 years and, having other ways to make money because I was already had this clientele that was being built off of bottle service. So if you're good at bottle service, you can take that and turn that into money anywhere, because now you have a clientele of $1 billion network. So that's why I tell people I teach you how to make 6 figures, but I'm going to also teach you how to build an 8-figure network while you're doing that, because your network is your net worth. So once you have $1 billion worth of people in your back pocket, now it's up to you how you're going to utilize them, how you're going to utilize their money, their contacts, whatever. So, I have my nonprofit. That's how I utilize my contacts. Instead of me getting rich, I pour into my kids, into the kids of my nonprofit. But that's just a personal thing. You know what I mean? Other people could take those networks and build their own businesses. I'm just blessed that God has given me my own business that I can build, and then I can use my resources to throw into my nonprofit, into kids that don't have anything.
All right, so I want to go back to the nonprofit. What type of nonprofit is it?
So it's called The Blessings Flow, in honor of my mother who passed away. Her name was Flo. We are in all the schools in South Florida, all the elementary and middle schools in South Florida that are under the 90% poverty line, which means most of the kids don't eat every day. Inner city, we have a lot of them are in shelters, homeless, extreme situations. And so I'm almost like a resource for all the different schools whenever we have tragic incidences or something come up. If there's a child that all of a sudden is displaced, they need things, underwear, shoes, socks, because a lot of these kids don't have basics. We swing in and we do that, but we also do regular events at the school that kind of break the trauma that most of the kids go through every day as far as not
like
eating.
A counselor.
So a counselor, but we also bring fun to them. So like carnivals, horses, bounce houses, you name it. Like I take them and I break up the monotony of what their life is, because a lot of them have really heavy lives. So we provide resources on a day-to-day basis as far as whatever they need as far as necessities. But at least once a month, we try to go into these schools, whichever ones are really being hit hard, and provide them with a large-scale event that lets the kids enjoy themselves for one day and throw all their cares to the world.
What schools? Which ones?
So Horace Mann, we were with last year, Liberty City Elementary, Jesse J. McCary. We're just about to do with
So elementary, middle?
elementary, middle.
That's amazing.
I don't turn down any elementary, middle. There's ones that we work with regularly because they know us and they know what type of, resource we are to them. But I'm open to any elementary or middle school that has, hardships with their children and that has kids that are in need.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
So you have the counselors reach out to you? How'd you get into
the counselors and the principals. Marcus from 5,000 Role Models, shout out to him.
I went to 5,000.
Yes, okay, so
I was for real.
awesome.
What is that?
So we work hand in hand with 5,000 Role Models.
Modeling agency?
No, it's actually a program that takes boys.
Okay. Oh, the 5,000. No, there's a 500.
Okay, no,
Role
I'm
Models.
5,000. So
500 is the school.
okay, no.
There's a school too. It's the same concept, but
don't-
5,000 is when they go out and they have them in their own school.
Yeah.
500 is the actual location. There's an actual location.
I didn't know there was a
Liberty
location.
City, yeah.
Okay, so Marcus is the president, and he runs the 5,000 Role Model program now, as of within the last 5 years. So I don't know what it was like before this, but Dr. Marcus Bright, and he is a good friend of mine, and he knows my passion for all things philanthropy. So when I started talking about my nonprofit and how I was trying to get into the school system, because we were working with a lot of churches at the time, he was like, well, we're in the school system. I have no problem, because I know what you do and I see what you do. I have no problem bringing you in under our wing. So that's basically what we're doing. And we're, wherever he is kind of where we follow. And he kind of gives us the heads up on what's going on and what schools are at most need or whatever the case may be. But 5,000 Role Models basically takes all boys. It's all little boys
The red ties.
that with red ties. And they,
White shirt, black
give
ties.
them basically, role models that are men that are either police officers, people in the county, whatever the case may be. And a lot of those boys don't have either father figures or whatever the case may be. So 5,000 Role Models is basically built just to give father figures and male figures throughout the city or in the inner city where they're lacking. So they do a lot of different things with the boys, take them to games, take them to different places and stuff like
That's
that.
awesome.
So we swing in and kind of supplement the things that they do, and he can kind of come in and because they have to carry for a lot of kids individually, so he can kind of see where the individual needs are, and he can kind of let me know where they need me. So me and him work hand in hand together. He's been a great teammate as far as in the philanthropic world, so I can get in here and really make a difference in these kids' lives.
What was his name again?
Dr. Marcus Bright.
Shout out Dr. Marcus Bright.
Yes, thank you.
Shout out.
Awesome connect, and he's always so quick to help. Anytime I'm like, I got a donation, I have some money, like where do we spend it? He's gonna figure out who's in the most need and send me directly there. So it's awesome.
So I
If
want
you
to.
can get involved, that'll be nice.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, we're always taking anyone. I'm not one of those people that's out soliciting, more money than we use. It's a strict nonprofit. I take nothing from it.
From the heart.
It's 100% from the heart. In fact, I usually end up digging into my own pocket and adding on to whatever donations that we do get. But we've been able to do great things. We sent kids to coding school. We've bought
That's
cars
dope.
for families and stuff like that. So, and again, I want to stress that this is all from a network that I built from bottle service. You know what I mean? Like all of these people, all of these networks, all the people that chip in money and donate to my nonprofit, they all came from or started as a bottle service client. They're all athletes, you know what I mean? Businessmen.
That's awesome.
And so I've utilized my network and knowing that they have these finances, but they might not have the time
Right.
to do the things that I do, you know what I mean? Then I utilize their finances and I make it work. And they love that because they can sit back and kind of know that when they give me the money, it's going someplace that's really going to work. And I'm really not like trying to keep anybody's money because I'm out here running my own company and stuff like that anyways. So I don't really need it. You know what I mean?
Busy girl.
No, she's busy.
Busy. But
What's
it's
the biggest bill you got?
the biggest tab I've ever got, like as far as them spending, probably 400, 500,000.
Whoa.
You have to understand at Ultra.
Holy.
At Ultra Music
At Ultra?
Festival, like all the minimums start at 60,000 at Ultra Music Festival. Like to get at the smallest little table for 5 people,
Right.
you're looking at 60,000. So our menu items at Ultra go up to $500,000 for a menu item.
insane.
You know what I mean? For a package.
And Ultra is one of your clients. I'm
Ultra is
assuming.
one of our clients.
Yeah,
We
'cause
work
you
with
work it
Ultra.
too.
Yes, we
You
work
don't just
it
run the
too.
business,
Yeah,
you-
and I actually physically work. So I'm manning, and which is the great part about what I do because not only am I sending you girls, but I'm on the floor with them. So if there's no way they're gonna mess up
Right.
because I'm literally right there watching them, and I'm going to swoop in before that could ever happen, anyways. But all my girls are trained and they know what they're doing. They know how to perform, and they're going to be your best performers. So last year when we did Ultra, I bought a team of girls for Ultra. We had some of the best sections, the highest volume sections.
Girls
in
from
Ultra.
Miami or
from
from
Miami?
every-
I bought girls some of the girls from LA and Vegas too. My team. It was only girls I knew personally that I would sign my life off because this is a big gig. You know what I mean?
course.
So the only people I sent through this gig were girls I knew were heavy hitters. But the second day of Ultra, with my girls included, we rang the highest Ultra in history. And I know that has a lot to do with the fact that we had a solid team of girls that just had extreme sales skills there. And to ring the highest Ultra in history is insane.
Wait. I know you're being humble, but I know that's partly because of the training that you give them.
For sure, absolutely. It's the one of my girls, it was her first day working ever as a bottle server ever.
And she got that.
And she got that, and she got a $20,000 overtip on her first table. $20,000.
Holy
So
shit.
shout out to her. Flavia, you made me look great that day. Love you, Flavia. Mwah. But again, I saw it in her. When I saw her, when I was looking through her energy, her personality, her face, everything about her to me she has potential. This is a girl that I can see men wanting to tip. You know what I mean? She's got the very girl next door look, very sweet, very hospitable, and it can take direction very well.
Where's she work now?
And now she's still just doing, like, she got paid great that day, but she's still floating around. Like, she doesn't have to, I don't think she's trying to be a career bottle server. She likes being able to pick up the festivals and stuff like that. So we're going to bring her back for Ultra, of course.
She's a bottle girl mercenary.
Yeah, and that's the greatest place to be because if I'm not mistaken, I think she might have like a professional job, like a nurse or something during the week. But that's the best position to be in is when you're that type of girl where I know I can call you and you can come get this $5,000, $10,000 extra dollars or whatever the case may be.
Can you call me?
Yeah, and then go
Yeah,
right
real
back to
quick
your
for-
job,
for-
which is what you've studied for,
Yeah.
or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be.
She's
you
not
know what I
depending
mean?
on it.
She's not depending on it, but it's a great supplemental
Right.
income for her.
She's
You
a
know
hustler.
what I mean? She's a hustler, and I love girls like that because what people don't understand is how many bottle servers have professional jobs during the week. I think that's like. And how many of the best bottle servers have professional jobs during the week.
Really?
So there are so many girls that came from, like I know there's a girl at Liv that has her juris degree. She's actually like a doctorate and she could perform as a lawyer anytime she wants. She has that ability. She chooses to show up to Liv every day. There's
I'm sure she does good.
yeah.
Network.
There's a girl at Booby Trap on the River, another girl I love. She's one of my favorite, examples. Her Instagram is called From Bio to Bottles because she went from being a biology teacher and she has her degree in profession biology to now slinging bottles and making a great living doing so. And she's amazing. She is educated, highly educated. She writes these beautiful posts comparing bottle service to educating, and it's so poetic when she does
She's
it.
a college grad. She's
College
collegiate.
grad,
Yeah.
exactly, and so many of us are, and I think that's what's missing, from the image of a bottle server is that people think they're just hot girls with nice bodies that you throw on a floor, and yeah, there's places that are doing that, but those are not the places that are successful.
And talking about Booby Trap, they're one of your clients as well?
Yes, well, I started Booby Trap in 2020. I came on before we became like Booby Trap.
I've been dying to ask you a question. So you said Ultra Miami. When did you come into Miami? When did you?
I've been in Miami for a long time. I was primarily at nightclubs before. So I've been doing this. I was a head bottle server at Mr. Jones for 5 years. Then before Mr. Jones, I was at Dream and Ivy Nightclub, which were the two biggest urban clubs in the country, for 10 years. So that's where I got my tenure and really where I got my experience as far as being trained as a corporate bottle server.
Got it.
Because at Dream, we had to put up numbers solo. Like we didn't have the corporate sector or the corporate structure that we have in these bigger clubs like Story or even Booby Trap or all these different where we have 5 managers and all these different HR companies and stuff like that. At Dream, we were a very small nightclub that did Vegas numbers. So we started privately, independently. The owner was a football player who was actually an ex of mine. So when we started, he was like, I was working at Nikki Beach at the time, and he would just pick my brain because Nikki Beach was like everything at the time.
It was what year was that?
2009, 2010. I'm showing my age now. So 2009, 2010, Nikki Beach was all the rave. The beach parties, the Sunday parties. They had a nightclub upstairs. This was before Live.
Yeah.
So, Sundays belonged to Nikki Beach. And that's where I got my start in South Beach.
Okay.
That's where I got my start in Miami. It was at Nikki Beach. Shout out to Alex Guerra. He trained.
Yeah, Alex, my
He
boy.
trained me,
Yeah.
the Guerra family, the Guerra boys.
Yeah.
Alex
Emmy.
Guerra, and Emmy's married to one of the who's just be my next door
That's my
neighbor,
boy.
Ricky.
I love Emmy. Emmy. Shout out to Emmy.
Shout out to Ricky, who's Emmy's wife now, who used to be my next door neighbor. Used to watch my dog for me. She worked at Live. So all of us, we're all tight. We've all been doing this for so long together. We all know each other. But Alex started me as a bartender. He got me on the floor as a bartender and a bottle server. I was just go-go dancing before that. Because I got down to Miami, I was taking whatever I could get. I just wanted something in a big name in big name place. So I was go-go dancing at Nikki Beach, but I was so great with the clients and the customers that Alex was like, "Why are you dancing?
Yeah.
Like you're dancing, but then when you get done dancing, you're out here talking to people and socializing. I need you behind the bar on the floor." And I was like, "But I don't know exactly how to bartend. I've always served, So he told me I could come every Sunday in the morning, and he would teach me firsthand how to bartend himself.
Took you to boot camp.
Shout out to Alex Garrett because he
Alex-
was the
Alex
original
was cool.
boot camp, the original
So
teacher of the
he
teacher.
taught you.
He taught the teacher.
Yeah.
Yes. So Alex taught me how to muddle, how to make mojitos, how to do everything from
Nice.
scratch. And just in general, how to work in a corporate sector. You know what I mean? In a big place where the demands were high, the sales were high, and you were expected to be professional. Even on top of selling, you were expected to be professional. So shout out to him because I learned everything I know as far as the corporate sector from them, from Nikki Beach, and then I went on to kind of lead Dream into the success that we had at Dream. And so I was the head server at Dream, leading the success, leading the bookings, leading the sales. I'm the only waitress that's booked and sold over 150,000 in one night, to my knowledge, in Miami.
Bars.
Wow.
Bars.
Without that being like the minimum, because obviously, like I said, we have certain situations where the minimum is 150,000.
Right.
But booking for a nightclub, your own individual clients, and selling out your own section, I'm probably one of the only girls, hands down, that has done that repetitively. So that's where I got my experience. Dream was like the pressure that made the diamond. And then when Dream closed, I was like, okay, what's next? And then I went to Mr. Jones. We built up Mr. Jones to what you see it to be today. And then after Mr. Jones came 2020. And that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, now I have to go back to the drawing board. What do we do now? So 2020, we're developing our own pop-up parties. And I'm doing everything. We're doing everything from scratch now. We're building the venues. We're building the events. So why would
we? Who's we?
me and my team? So like Jordan from Varsity, that's my brother. We're not biologically related, but I don't have a brother anywhere in this world that I consider more of a brother than Jordan.
Shout out to Jordan. That's my dog
Yes.
right there. I love my boy Jordan.
So Jordan and me have built so many things from scratch, from the days of bed, mansion. Like we've been
He's
together
the best.
for 15 years. Like we're like an old married couple that's never had any type of contact with each other. We fight like cats and dogs, but that's really my brother. And we have built the things we've done is
You guys are partners.
remarkable. That's my partner.
It seems like everywhere you've gone, okay, every place you've been, you kind of like pop them off.
Yeah,
Low key.
for sure, absolutely.
With sales.
And I'm not, going to be humble about that. And I'm a very humble
no, yeah.
person, but that's one thing I won't be humble about. And me and Jordan, we know that together. If me and Jordan are anywhere together, period, it's going to succeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, right here on Strictly Business, okay, it's authentic. All
Yeah.
right, ladies and gentlemen, it's her. She's the one that popped them off, all right?
Yeah.
For the record.
Yeah, and there's not an owner anywhere that's going to deny that because I always get special privileges everywhere I ever work. So people always know that like the owners know what I bring to the table because again, when I'm working at Mr. Jones, everybody else has to be there for their schedule at 11 p.m. and I walk in at 1:30 a.m. and I stay for 2
Golden
hours
child,
or whatever.
the golden
Golden child. And I'm there and I try to tell girls this, don't get mad at whoever's the golden child. Step your game up so you can be the golden child.
Ask some questions.
Ask some questions. Be that person, like, because there was always two types of girls when it came around to me. There was the girls that hated me just for being the golden child, and then there was the girls that were smart enough to say, how do you do this? Can I go out with you one weekend? Can you show me how you are able to bring these clients in? And so that's what gave me the idea for my business. That's how it grew, because once I decided I didn't want to go back to being on anybody else's roster, I was like, how can I take my experience and make it lucrative? Because my experience is priceless. The amount of experience and what I can do for a company and for a business is priceless. So how can I translate that into something that is a business where they're getting something, but I can also get something in return?
And that was my next question. When did the idea start to?
I started writing about it in 2019, so that was even
Right
before
before the
2020.
pandemic,
And this is how I know God has been aligned and everything, because I didn't know 2020 was happening. But in 2019, I have a book that I write down all my business ideas. Like I could be sleeping in the middle of the night, wake up, and I just write it down because I never know when I'm going to come back to that business, But I'm always churning. My brain is always churning. So in 2019, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, bottle service school, a school for bottle servers. Why the fuck not? Like we make more money than realtors, but there's realtor school, there's eyelash school, there's all these different schools for people that aren't even making a fraction of what bottle servers make.
Bam.
Like it doesn't even make any sense, And then I realized all the conferences, all the schooling I went through for real estate, I was applying all of those things I learned about sales into my bottle service life. And that's one of the reasons why I was performing better than everybody else. I had been taught sales programs. I just didn't realize that I was actually using those to translate into. So now that's what I do. I take the sales techniques and I stay up to date with all the different sales techniques because they change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. As technology changes, all of your marketing strategies have to change. All of your techniques have to change. And this is what most people don't realize. As a bottle server, you're selling yourself. Mm-hmm. Because once you garnish that clientele, you can literally do anything with it. So that's why it's so important to know about sales and know about booking or building a clientele and then retaining that clientele. Because if somebody can spend $5,000 to $50,000 on a table, they can also buy a house, buy a car from invest in your business. There's so many different things. They could be your husband. Like there's so many different reasons why it is so important for you to know how to market as a part of sales and market yourself. And so a lot of girls look at bottle service as just like, oh, I work for this venue and it's just about this venue. And it's never about the venue that you work at. It's always about you being the procurer of a good time. You're the procurer of an excellent party. Wherever you are is where the vibe is. When your clients start to know you as that, they'll follow wherever you go. So during 2020, when me and Jordan are doing pop-up parties and these places don't have a name to them, so it's not like we get, oh, it's Live on Sunday. It's just some random pop-up party. People trust me and Jordan.
Right.
Because you were selling the tables already.
Yes, we're already selling the tables. We're already sold out. In fact, I made more money during 2020 than I did from any regular club since Dream. Because again, now, the clubs are hitting the girls over the head. They're stealing their service charge. They're doing all types of shady things. So when me and Jordan got to build our own thing and pay people correctly and run it with integrity, our girls are making $5,000 to $7,000 a night.
And they want to work with you.
Of course. And that's why I have such a huge following, because the girls know you want to work for me. I'm not going to rob you. We're going to have a good time. I'm not going to be a dictator or anything like that, but we're going to do what we came to do, and we're going to make it look good, and the clients are going to love us because I'm going to pick specifically who I need for that venue. And that's another thing about knowing who's good for what. And you can't know that as a manager because half the time you don't even know half of the girls that are in front of you. I've worked side by side with all of these girls.
So 2020 happened. What happened post-pandemic? When everything started opening up?
When everything started opening up, that's when everybody and their mom decided they wanted to open a nightclub because they were just so sure that that was going to be all the rave. And that's why my business took off so fast because people had all this money and built these nightclubs, and they always spend all the money on
You
building.
already had the names, or was it just kind of happening organically?
2021 is when the name came up, I think. You know what I mean? 2021 is when we went back to business. So 2021 is when the name came up. I'm really good with coming up with catchy names. Period. Everybody always tells me that. So I name people's things all the time. Bottle Service Boot Camp kind of came to me like this because it just made sense.
It's a great name.
You know what I mean? But when I thought about what I was going to be doing, it was exactly that: Bottle Service Boot Camp. It's self-explanatory.
Yes, it is.
If you see one of my boot camps, I run it like a boot camp.
How do you run it?
Like, I'm like,
what is it? What is a bottle service boot camp?
okay, so when you get there, if it's a public boot camp, then it's just the girls that want to sign up, that want to learn how to be a bottle server from scratch.
Okay.
Period. They have no experience. They just want to know, how do I do this? So it's like the same thing as, like I said, real estate class, eyelash class. I'm going to take you from point 0 to 100 throughout the whole thing.
One day or a couple days?
But that is 3 days.
Okay.
Because to take you from 0 to nothing is going to take some time. Venue bottle service boot camp, like as if a venue or a hospitality group hires me to train their entire staff.
Consulting, yeah.
But consulting is different because I usually do the consulting with the managers, the owners. The staff training is like your entire staff comes to your location. It's the managers, your bartenders, your servers, your bussers, your security, the whole
Everybody.
house.
Yeah.
The whole house. And we spend 8 hours.
Even the managers.
Even the managers. The managers are ones that get trained the most. Bottle Service Boot Camp, as far as like for venues, is mostly for managers because most managers do not know how to run a nightclub. They've not ran a nightclub. They've never worked in a nightclub. So we're at a very big shortage of managers right now, period. Across the country, we're in a shortage of hospitality managers that have experience because a lot of them moved out of the industry in 2020 and they started something completely different. So now, to get somebody to come in and be a hospitality manager that has experience, you have to pay them $150,000 off rip. So if you're a new place and you're scared to make that investment in like a manager that has, a Rolodex of experience, that's when you hire a consultant company like me. You might pay us $5,000 or $10,000, but that's far less than you're going to pay your manager on a large scale, and we'll come in and organize everything and integrate your operations and stuff like that. So that's from the consultant end.
Yeah.
From the boot camp end, we get a 8-hour training day, at least an 8-hour training day, depending on how large the staff is and how large the venue is. We can go up to 3 days again with that. Just depends on the owner and what they want to pay for. But on the short end, it would be an 8-hour day where we start around 11 or 12 in noon and we go to 7 or 8 at night. And we start with basically their job duties, their job descriptions, their job titles. We make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're here for and why they do what they do. So it's because a lot of times that's not clear, believe it or not, because it's so many moving parts with a nightclub. So as a bartender, these are your responsibilities. As a server, as a manager, these are your responsibilities. We go through everybody's responsibilities. Then we go through how to execute them. Then we go through sales practices, service practices, marketing, social media, all of those different tactics that now we all have to come together and basically build this venue. We have to build a clientele for this venue. So how do we do that? Because we are all part of this. So just because you're a bartender or waitress doesn't make you immune to having to build business or build business to this place. And a lot of people forget that. They think I just show up and everybody else, the business is just there. Because some places like Live and stuff like that, it's automatic. But they didn't start like that. It takes a team of effort to build any venue. So we go through all the practices of what they need to be doing every day, every position, what they should be doing every day to bring more business into it. Then we go through the rules of just operating a nightclub, the do's, the don'ts, how you're supposed to present your bottles, how you're supposed to sell and serve.
What's the
different
proper way
things.
to present a bottle?
You don't have a bottle in here?
Wait, we do. We have that right there to your left. The water bottle.
You're giving away my secrets.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll have girls just like, in there just doing their bottle parades, just going crazy, shaking the bottle up. Now, mind you, this is champagne. So first of all, girls, the number one reason you shouldn't be shaking it is because you're going to regret that the second you open it. But a lot of you girls, I see this happening all the time. Like, because they think that the parade is just like an opportunity to like be individual and show off.
Yeah.
But the idea of a parade is actually for marketing purposes. It's not for the girls to be individual. It's not even really for the client. It's to market the alcohol that we're selling to the entire venue so that other people are encouraged to buy.
Got it.
So it's not about turning up or whatever. You're supposed to be presenting the alcohol, making sure it's correct alcohol before you open it. because you don't want them to like, be like, I didn't order that, and now it's
That happens a
open
lot.
all the time. So there's just different tactics, and I can't give everything away because
No,
again,
we
that's
know, but it was just.
You gotta sign up for the boot camp. We want to know the tricks.
So I wanna. Okay, I'm sorry.
There's just different tactics and different things that you have to do it the right way if you ever expect marketing dollars or you ever expect anyone to take you seriously on like a professional end. And most people want those professional sponsorships from Dom Perignon, Ace of Spades, 1942, and that. And that's why
The clubs want that.
they want
Okay.
that. The owner, you need that because those people help keep your lights on.
Got it.
And so what people don't understand is like the marketing, or the liquor companies, they do marketing for themselves by doing buybacks in venues.
Yes, I was just gonna. Yeah.
And the only way you're going to get their marketing dollars is if your girls are doing parades and presenting and being professional on every level, and like the content that they're going to get from it is worth them spending the money there.
It's like I had a friend that she had a credit card and she would go to places just buy the bottle. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. And we
She worked for the company.
She worked for the company. Hennessy, Nectar, 1942, Ace of Spades, Dom Perignon, all of them do buybacks. And then they do major sponsorships of major events. So those are the people you want to be on your good side. And they're only going to be on your good side if your waitresses are the best sellers and the best look that they can basically use for their own marketing. So they only want to be in places where they know that they're going to get content that's going to be usable for them. Gotcha. So if you're the type of girl or you have the type of staff where the labels are facing backwards or the girls look sloppy, they're not in uniform, they're not doing what they're supposed to, they're not going to give you the millions of dollars that they give other venues. You know what I mean? Like there's certain venues that get millions of dollars.
This is good for
because it's good look for them, and they can get the production. Now, I'll give you an example. We also work with Uncommon Entertainment. Shout out to Uncommon, and we do the Palm Tree Music Festivals, right? So one of the girls that I specifically hire for Palm Tree Music Festival, and I love you. I'm not going to say her name. She knows I love her. She's been working with me for a long time. She just got caught up. Do you know what I mean? Even players fuck up. You know what I mean? So she just fucked up this one day. She had the Dom Perignon table. They had given us, I think, like $3 or $4 million for the festival. They had sponsored the festival. They are one of the major sponsors. So all of the money that's putting this on is coming from them. And she's their waitress. And she pops a bottle of Dom Perignon. Give me the bottle again. And she, say this is the front label of the Dom Perignon. She's pouring it with the ingredients facing the Dom representatives and their camera and their video camera and everything. And she's pouring the bottle, holding it by the neck. Oh. Now, I'm not going to give all my secrets away, but if you know how disgusting that is. Do you know what I mean? And so I get a text from the guy who's running the festival that I need to tap her on the shoulder and excuse her immediately. Like she needs to leave. Leave. I'm sorry. You got to go. Because it's that serious. Yeah. Like if I'm paying $4 million to put this festival on, you can't get me a waitress that knows how to pour champagne.
He's right.
And the cup is overfilling with bubbles, and it just looks like she's a beginner. Yeah. It's not what we look for. It's terrible. Look. And it's do you know what I mean? Like it's such a little thing, but $4 million is such a huge amount of money that we can't afford for that little thing to happen. It was Palm Tree Music Festival.
Where here in Miami?
And it was in Hamptons.
They don't play around.
They don't play around there. And in general, when we're doing festivals, we're talking a large scale money. You know what I mean? Way bigger than nightclub money. So, you really have to be on your shit.
I want to give you a huge compliment. I've been waiting to give you the compliment.
Thank you.
It seems like when you were back in the industry, you were a bottle girl and you were good at what you did, right? But if you would have had the mentality of like, hey, I'm the best, I'm not going to teach you anything, I'm the best, you would have kind of not have grown.
Of course. And because, you know what, I dealt with that when I came in. And I always say the reason I started my company is actually because of all the girls that hated on me when I first came in. And they saw that I was good at what I did. So the older girls, when I came in, they were ruthless. Like I have never experienced anything like the bullying that I experienced working at Dream. Like it was ruthless. The rumors they started, the lengths in which they went to try to stop people from booking with me because they just could not understand why. Haters is an understatement.
They don't want you to win.
They really didn't want me to win. And then to see that, the owner was working with me because, again, it's his investment. So if he has somebody that is producing, he's going to pour into that producer. So if I would book 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tables on the floor and we only have 14 tables on the floor, he's like, Michelle's serving all of her tables, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, book your own tables.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell Michelle that I'm going to punish her and basically cut into her money and give her money to you.
Because then the venue doesn't make money.
Because now Michelle's gonna stop booking tables. Yeah. Now Michelle is only gonna book what she can hold. You know what I mean? And that fucks me over. Yeah. So the girls would get mad because they would be sitting in the back with nothing to do while I'm running around trying to service 8 or 9 tables. And shout out to, I have a girl at Booby Trap on the River that's like a little me. And we had an event like, I wish I could remember your name. Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name, but you know who you are. She booked 15 tables at an event they had for Booby Trap Doral a couple months ago. And they let her serve all 15 tables. And like, I was like, of course she would serve. And if she needs help, guess what? I'll jump in and help her.
Yes.
Because
that's
she's my little prodigy. I'm never going to punish or recommend punishing somebody who's out here doing the extra, doing the most. That's your best friend. That's the overzealous worker that I'm talking about. You want that person that cares more about your job than you care about your own company, And
So ladies that worked with her at Dream, the haters, she's winning. She's winning.
And you know what? Karma is real. I think they all know that at this point in time because I'm like the only one that's still like thriving in this industry at all. And most of them, are not, in general, thriving in life. But I just think that I told them this at the end, in the amount of time and effort that they spent trying to, sabotage me and trying to make people not like me, they could have had doctorates degrees. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how much actual time that they spent, trying to sabotage me. They could be somewhere really doing something with their life. They should, with all the effort they put in, they should together conglomerately have some type of company. You know what I mean?
Jordan.
So, Jordan was the one that literally saved me. Like, it was like me and Jordan.
No, I'm talking about you're the Michael Jordan.
I'm the Michael Jordan. I'm like, Jordan's the only one that saved me because me and Jordan always worked together. So it was always kind of us bringing. But thank you for that. My one manager called me Black Mamba, and I didn't know what that meant, but it was the Kobe Bryant.
I'm seeing that right now.
So that's why they call me Miss 4th of July. I have one manager that made up all of my nicknames.
Yeah, what is that? So what's the Miss 4th of July?
Miss 4th of July came from Travis. Shout out to Travis from Ivy. Because he would say he would sit on the camera in the monitor in like the office, and he didn't even need to see the floor plan or know where I was sitting because he always knew where my section was because every time he looked on the monitor, it was just fireworks going. Like the whole section was always lit up. And then like the other sections would be quiet. So he'd be like, Michelle must be at 4, 5, and 6 tonight because it's literally just been nothing but sparkles on the 4, 5, and 6. So then at the time I had a boyfriend that came into the office and, he was always calling me either Black Mamba, making up all these nicknames. And then he's like, I'm going to start calling you Miss 4th of July. And then my boyfriend at the time was like, I call her that for completely different reasons. But he's like, I co-sign on that nickname. And then it stuck from that point forward.
So remember about the franchising thing? Mm-hmm. I didn't want you to talk about that because that would have been, I want to take it back to that.
Okay.
So it seems like you've transcended. You got your management company. You're a consultant. You're training all this staff, all these big companies. Like, what's next? Like, what? As far as like, obviously I say franchising, but what's next? Like, what do you think? What's the plan? Like,
I would like to open a school, like a full either brick and mortar hospitality school or a full-blown hospitality school online, but with something that we're missing in Miami. Like, why are we teaching everybody everything besides the number one job that you will have in Miami, which is hospitality? The number one way to make 6 figures in Miami is to be in the hospitality industry, and we're the only major city that doesn't have a hospitality school. It doesn't make sense.
That's dope. But and what about after that?
After that, I'm going to do my
I'm going somewhere with this.
My retirement project, like in my 50s, is going to be a 24-hour daycare.
Okay.
Which is completely off the grid. But I'm with my nonprofit, so I love kids. So my retirement project, and I already have hired my consultant for that, and we're already in the works. I got my degree and all that.
My mom did that. My mom, she worked at a daycare.
Yeah. So Miami's also one of the places that we have a lot of overnight workers and not a lot of overnight daycare facilities. So I want to.
If I had, sorry to interrupt, if I had $10 million right now to open up a spot and I needed a partner, a nightclub, I would look at you.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's in your sights, but I think that you would pop off one of the most successful nightclubs
I
if you ever
believe
partnered
that.
up with anybody.
I believe that, and I
So,
get offered that a lot.
if anybody is watching this and
But you know
That's-
what? It's such a difficult. That's what I think is why I mean I know so much about the industry. It's such a difficult industry to make work that the partner would have to be almost as well versed in it as me. Because if you're not going to understand a lot
You
of
need
the
to
things
speak
that I
your
tell you.
language. Yeah.
And that's what the hard part, the challenging part about consulting for new venues is because they have these idealistic, like, because they've never done it. So they always think, oh, I just have to do this, this, and this, and that, and it'll work. Because from the outside looking in, it looks simple. You know, and I don't even know who's still blind enough to have, but it happens all the time where people build a club or a restaurant, and they then once it's time to open, they have no idea what to do from that point forward. They just got the building part done, or you know what I mean, the liquor license part done, and now they think if they just open the doors that people are just going to run through the doors and then it's going to be and it's never like that. It's literally never like that. And so you have to have owners, because I've realized this in the consultant aspect, is that we are getting paid to consult. You're paying me to consult you. I'm giving you the information, and then you're still telling me, I don't think we need to do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't have money for that, so we're going to do this instead. Okay, so I'm just going to take your money and then tell you whatever you want, you know? And that's the problem with these people that hire consultants if you're going to hire a consultant, and this is not just for my company, if you're going to hire a consultant for anything, listen to the consultant. We're saying what we're saying for a reason. It's tried, tested, and true. I'm not telling you anything because I think it might be the right way to go. There is a very specific recipe that every successful nightclub has used, the same recipe. Every single successful nightclub. Everyone that's not successful has tried to do something, has tried to reinvent the wheel, has tried to cut corners or try to get out of what is necessary, like what is a necessity to run a nightclub. And part of the necessity to run a nightclub, I'm going to tell everybody, and this is like a huge thing that I shouldn't be giving for free, you need to have enough operating capital to pay your staff, your entertainment, and your lights for the first 2 years of your venue opening without you making a single profit. If you cannot afford that, you cannot afford to open a venue. Affording to open a venue is not simply I can afford to build the building and open the building and then I need to make a profit right away. Because statistically speaking, that's not going to happen. No nightclub, no restaurant is successful in the first year. And if they are, they're a part of a 1%. 80% of restaurants and nightclubs fail in the first year because people do not have the operating capital for 2 years. They fail simply because the bills are coming in and they can't. So my thing is like, but you spent $3 million on the building. You spent $2 million on the lighting, $4 million on the furniture. And then when it comes time to open, you don't have money to pay your waitresses or your staff members or your managers.
start cutting corners.
You start cutting corners, and now you want to, get a $50,000 a year manager to open up a new venue. That's not, that's not going to work. So stop trying to cut corners once you open. If you're going to cut corners on anything, cut corners on the decorations, cut corners on the lighting, cut corners on the shit that nobody's going to notice. Because if you have a cool enough venue, if you book artist after artist after artist, people are going to come to a hole in the wall. That's where we win at Booby Trap. We have nothing special. There's nothing special at Booby Trap. We're booked every weekend. Why? Because artists love us, and because if we don't have an artist, Mike will pay to get the artist in there.
That's what you were tapping in. Why did Booby Trap pop off?
Because they took what we told them, and Jordan was a huge part of that as well. Us giving them the blueprint. Like, this is what needs to happen. This is what you have to do to make a club in Miami work. And a lot of that revolves around promoters, which are a necessary evil, which every place is trying to avoid, hiring and paying
Yeah, they have like a bad, negative,
And because promoters I call them a necessary evil for a reason, because a good promoter is going to come with a lot of ego. They're going to come with a lot of demands. They're going to come with a lot of shit. But the fact of the matter is that they're worth it. You know what I mean? They're bringing a lot to your bid. They're essentially your partner. So if you try to look at a promoter, especially like a good one, as they're just a bill, you're hustling backwards. What Jordan and me bring to an establishment, just by word of mouth, is priceless. Because if Jordan says this is where it's popping, and I co-sign on Jordan, like I said, people are going to say, no, both of us, if we're both saying something is good, then it's good automatically. There's only a handful of people in Miami whose word can be trusted like that. There's only a handful of promoters whose word can be trusted like that, and people don't want to pay them what they're worth. So, like, Jordan's going to take 40 to 50% of your profits. He's going to. But it's also whether you're going to take 40, 50% of $0 or 40 or 50% of $100,000 a night. Which would you like?
Facts. Facts.
You know,
Facts.
and same thing with the waitresses. If you can hire waitresses that are just good looking, just order takers, whatever, that have fat asses or whatever, but they're just going to be that. They're never going to help you make any money. They're never going to help put back into your investment. They're just going to be sitting. They're actually a liability. At some point in time, they're going to become a liability.
If you're a club owner, where can they find you to get like your business?
Bottleservicebootcamp.info is the website, but I would honestly prefer people reach out to me on my Instagram page. I do all of my business from my Instagram page. Everything that they could want to find out about my Instagram, about my business is on my Instagram page. So my Instagram is Bottle Service Bootcamp, obviously one word. It's long, but it'll come up like when you type in Bottle Service Bootcamp will come up the first one. There's a link in the bio, a link tree where you can schedule, if you're an owner or a manager, you can schedule a 30-minute free consult where we can go through whatever it is that you're working on, whatever your plans are, whatever you need help in, and then I can basically advise you of which program of ours would fit you best and how much it's going to cost and all that kind of stuff. So everything is very individual and specialized because every venue is different and they have different needs.
I can't wait to see you in like another 5 to 10 years, and then maybe we got to do another podcast.
I hope
'cause
so.
Is this your first podcast?
This is my first podcast ever. Yes.
Jesus, it's professional. We
Thank
need
you.
the follow up because I see you going so many places.
Thank
Whatever
you.
business you do, I see you just, you have that mindset, you have that charisma, you got it.
Thank you. From your
got the it.
mouth to God's ears, because I love that. Like I said, I faced a lot of challenges in the beginning of this industry, and even in the beginning of my company, there was a lot of imposter syndrome, to get it started or whatever. But
Imposter syndrome meaning I've never heard that term.
imposter syndrome means like that you know what you know, but you're afraid that if you come out with it, that people are going to challenge you that you know what you know, and then you start to guess or try to second guess, do you know what you know? And so I had a long talk with one of my best guy friends who was an NFL player for a long time, and now he's a sportscaster. And even one of my other great friends, Draymond Green, and they both explained to me that they go through imposter syndrome all the time. And I really needed to hear that from both of them because they're two of the most successful people that I know, two of the most confident men that I know. And we had a long talk. I had a long talk with both of them about how I was sitting on this idea. Since 2019, I had been sitting on it. And I just was afraid to pull a trigger because I didn't know where to start, how to start. You know what I mean? Like, what are people going to say when I come out and I say I'm the expert at this or whatever the case may be? And, I ran into an owner of a hospitality group that when I first met him, he's like, you need to work for me because otherwise you don't have any proof of concept. And that kind of gave me imposter syndrome for a while because he kept on telling me, you don't have any proof of concept. But if you work for me and my company and you do what I tell you to do, then you can take your name of your company and say that you have proof of
You
concept.
had the proof the whole time.
I already had it. And you know what? I think of him every day because he is one of the people that put the battery in my back. Sometimes when somebody tells you you can't do something, that's what you need to hear. So I always tell him he is the catalyst to me like hitting the ground running is because he told me what I couldn't do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I didn't end up working with his company. All the projects that he promised were in the works and that I was going to get to man and oversee have never happened. They still haven't come to fruition. Nothing that he said was going to happen on his end actually took place. But he sat there and questioned my integrity and my ability to make it happen. And so sometimes I want to reach out to him and be like, hey, it's been 2 years since me and you had that sit down and you told me I needed proof of concept. Now I've got nothing but proof of concept. Now I've got girls out the ass that are telling me that from their training within 6 to 7 months, they've been moved from a waitress to a manager. And I have tons of girls like that from no experience. So if you want proof of concept, come on over to my page and look at all the success stories and look at the ultra highest, numbers in the festival and look at all of these girls that have went from like relatively no experience to now either managers, head servers, or, really exploding in their own career and making 6 figures from nothing. And some of the girls literally were jobless before this.
It sounds like the person that told you that has a lot of insecurities
I
about
think-
his project, about what was going on. So he was kind of
Yeah.
like,
As he should. And I think, he needed me, but he didn't know how to get me, without trying to make it like I needed him.
gotcha.
you know. And so I do, but I thank him. I thank God for when I tell you God has orchestrated this in a perfect manner, everything happens for a reason, because I needed that. I was suffering with such imposter syndrome before that day. And then the fact that him and all of his executives sat in those meetings with me and they loved me and they hung on every word that I said, and I knew that I was educating them. I knew they were getting something out of me. That's when I knew I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here in
was
a
the
room
reassurance.
full of executives, owners, and they're learning from me. And so that's when I was like, I'm not going to let him tell me what I need in order to be successful, you know? And from that point forward, I just hit the ground running and started reaching out, and the ball just started, because my rep was already so established.
Of course.
So that was the good thing. I already had such a good rep that people were like, you want to train girls? You want to help me? You want to help me make my girls like you? Yes, please.
Now, you need to bring, the next time you come onto the pod, because you're coming again,
Yes.
you got to bring your partner.
Flavia.
Okay.
No, we gotta bring Flavia.
Which one? Who do you want to?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Oh, we'll bring Jordan. Yeah, we get Jordan.
I've been
I
trying.
feel like you guys will get into a fight
No,
in the podcast.
no. You know what? Our
good fight, a good
relationship
fight.
has gotten so much better as the years have gone on, because we've been now with each other for 15 years. So it's like, when I say it's like
Brother,
an old
sister.
marriage, is like, or
Yeah.
brother sister, is really like, you know, in the beginning we used to fight. Like, I'm talking screaming. Like, you would never believe it, because people see as Jordan as such a small, quiet, nice. But no, Jordan and me, we would go like this, screaming at each other. But now we are like, we realize that we are all we have in this industry. That in the 15 years that we've been doing this, we are probably the only group that has stayed together. You know, between Jordan, Javier, Matt, all of us, we've all stayed together. We've all worked together. Like, the group itself, Varsity, has stayed together. So we've been able to make things happen simply because we work in ways that other people don't. We work with integrity. We work with loyalty. We work with all these different things. So Jordan would be great to have onto the
need to.
podcast.
We need to.
I keep trying to get him onto my team, because I want him to start doing promoter boot camp. Because at the end of the day,
Okay,
we
okay.
are like, it's going. That's, you know
You
what.
want me to beep that idea out? You want me
Yeah,
to beep
you
that
know
out?
what? I forgot to tell you, because when you said what are the future plans, that is like obviously the hospitality school, but that's the future plan, is to make boot camp for every position. So promoter boot camp, busser boot camp, manager boot camp, so that every specific position can come in and actually get the specialized knowledge that they need to be successful or to make six figures in that particular industry. Because there is a person making 6 or 7 figures in all of those positions.
Yeah, I know a couple promoters
Yeah.
banking.
But, I mean, look at Michael Gardner. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, huge money. So I keep on telling Jordan that is a specialized knowledge and a set for him. And we are desperate for promoters and managers in the city of Miami, because we have so few. So it's like a lot of the reasons why a lot of the venues are not going to survive, period, is simply because they don't want to pay the promoters that are here the money that they require. But you need a promoter to you need a promoter.
And they're gonna hustle, so they're gonna try to go to another spot, you know. So you need to take care of them.
Of course. And the thing is that, you know, you need to see the value in a promoter and understand that, like, as an owner, you can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like, the promoter is your feet on the ground. We're your feet inside. We're your salespeople inside, but your promoter is your feet outside. You know what I mean? These are the people that are literally responsible for bringing people inside. So you have to know who you're hiring as a promoter. You have to take them, if it's a good promoter, you have to take them seriously. If it's a new promoter, you have to be smart with how you pay them, so that it's aligned in a way where they
have
only
incentives.
Yeah, they have incentives, and they only succeed if you succeed.
So,
Well,
man,
there you hear from Michelle, Bottle Service Boot Camp. Tap in with her if you have a venue and you need to staff it up.
Jordan.
Or if you have a special event, you know, we do a lot of special events. So if you're having a black tie event, a birthday party, shout out to Hassan Whiteside, we do his events. We do Uncle Luke and their music group, their events. So we do a lot of different events for a lot of the who's who in Miami. So if you're doing a specialized, you know, private event, well, I'll let you choose through a roster of 30 some odd girls. So you get to pick what you want them to look like, how you want them to look, what you want them to wear. You know, it's very, very, very professional. So we'll bring an added level of professionalism to your private event, because we've been doing a lot of private events lately. A lot. That's huge for us right now, because everybody wants to have an event where, you know, there's a service staff. So
Tap in.
tap in.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God, I feel like I taught you guys to death.
No.
This felt like a boot camp.
Amazing.
No,
It was a boot camp.
You
By the time I get done a boot camp, I'm like, I need water.
You don't.